Hello and good evening, friends, and welcome to another edition of Strictly Sports. I am your host, Anthony Florio, joined, as always, by good old MF Michael Fletcher, awaiting the presence of Michael Bullock. If he comes in, we'll catch him up on what he missed. If not, then we should have him tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk. But initially, we had only two things on the docket this evening, but MF informed me a few hours ago that two new items have been added. So we'll address that in just a moment. But first up, we this is the story that most certainly deserves to be the lead story of our show this week. Tony Romo. A lot of rumors were going around, but guess what? He got paid, baby. There is no doubt about that. I mean, we had thought he was going to go to ESPN. There were rumors that he was going to go, but he will be staying on CBS, and he will continue to work with my man Jim Nantz. And here you go. Tony Romo agreed to the largest sports analyst contract in TV history. The deal to remain at CBS will prevent Romo from entering free agency, where ESPN was prepared to bid aggressively for him. Romo's new contract with CBS will pay him around $17 million a season, which is more than double the previous NFL high of $8 million a year that John Madden received more than 2 decades ago. Even when adjusted for inflation, which would make Madden's number $14 million, Romo still is the highest paid ever. The long-term deal, sources say, is for significantly more than 5 years, which means the total value for Romo's contract will well surpass $100 million. And during his playing career, Romo earned a total of $127 million over 14 seasons. There were only 3 seasons as the Cowboys quarterback that he made more than $17 million. But CBS was motivated by Disney's ability to start bidding on Romo when he could have been eligible for free agency. CBS thought Disney, which hoped to use Romo as a carrot as it goes after a Super Bowl in the next round of negotiations, would bid $20 million a year. ESPN officials vigorously disputed that, saying they would never have bid close to that number. Though Romo's salary is astronomical for 20 NFL games, CBS officials felt he showed loyalty because he could have explored how high ESPN would go. CBS and Romo's partner Jim Nantz have been universally praised since network executives Sean McManus and David Berson took the chance on putting Romo in the booth right off the field 3 years ago. In Romo's rookie deal, CBS did have a card to play that could have prevented him from becoming an unrestricted free agent. Per the terms of Romo's original contract, he had to tell CBS what it would take for him to agree to a contract prior to him being allowed to go on the open market, according to sources. CBS was willing to meet the around $17 million a year and $100+ million figure that blocked out ESPN from even getting a chance. CBS's calculation is that they spend billions on the NFL, so bidding this high on Romo made sense in the grand scheme. They hope to retain their Sunday afternoon package and Super Bowl in the next round of negotiations with the NFL. Romo will now earn nearly twice as much in 1 year than he made during his entire rookie deal, which was for 3 years and around $10 million. He made a little more than $3 million last season. As for ESPN, sources have said it has alternative plans as to how it may remodel its Monday Night Football booth, which currently consists of Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland. So, I mean, wow. Now, the first call is likely to be Peyton Manning asking if this is finally the year he wants to try to be an analyst. With the money Disney was planning to offer Romo and with what Romo is being paid by CBS, Manning would have to listen. If Manning says no, ESPN would have to move to plan C. ESPN was thinking big with Romo in the Super Bowl, but CBS had the initial foresight to sign Romo, and they refused to let him go. So it was I mean, that is unreal. I mean, that's money that MF and I would dream of. But, good for him. I mean, he deserves it. I mean, I know he does have some naysayers, as we always like to say, you can't please everybody. I mean, I know some people who don't like Tony Romo's work, but we do. And, him and Jim Nantz, those two together are top notch. And they will be ready because this upcoming season, Super Bowl 55, it will be on the mothership. It will be on CBS. Jim Nantz and Tony Romo and Tracy Wolfson, maybe Jay Feely and or Evan Washburn, they'll probably be all convening at Raymond James Stadium next year. So, congratulations, Tony Romo. I mean, boy, howdy. As the song goes, he just got paid. That's all there is to say on that. He just got paid, man. That's an MF special right there. So that's all there is to say on this. And MF, as I bring in MF, I mean, he is the quote unquote Tony Romo, no like Jim Nantz, although I think of him as more of a Phil Simms. But MF, I mean, Tony Romo, $17 million a year. Now you teased that you had some, as the Great Foreigner album once called, inside information about this.
Yes, I do. It's a 10-year deal at $170 million. That's the official figure that Tony Romo signed with CBS. They are saying that, yes, initially, they ESPN or Disney was offering $200 million for 10 years for Romo. But Romo decided to stay at CBS. Now, the big rumor that's going around that I heard is that there is some talk that the new ESPN crew could be, get ready for this, Al Michaels and Peyton Manning. Now, I know a lot of people are going to say, wait a minute, what? Al Michaels? He's under contract with NBC. How's that going to happen? As everybody knows, Mike Tirico is the heir apparent. He will be taking over Sunday Night Football when Al Michaels leaves. However, there has been talk around the water cooler that ESPN or Disney is talking with NBC right now to have Al Michaels get bought out by NBC to bring in Al Michaels for Monday Night Football. And the reason why is because Peyton Manning wants Al Michaels. If they don't get Al Michaels, then Peyton is out. He will not sign with ESPN. He will not do Monday Night Football, and he'll stay retired. So now Disney is aggressively moving to try to get Al Michaels so that they could package this deal. This would be the tandem, Al Michaels and Peyton Manning. Mike Tirico will be elevated. He will become the new lead commentator for Sunday Night Football on NBC, working alongside Chris Collinsworth. So that is the major news that I got. And yes, Anthony, it's a 10-year deal, $170 million, $17 a year for Tony Romo. But ESPN was willing to offer him $200 million. Think about that. $20 million a year for 10 years. That's what Romo walked away from to stay on the mothership on CBS. And yes, CBS, because of the fact that next year all the contracts run out. All of the contracts for television rights all run out. So that's right, guys. Next season is going to be a complete and utter free-for-all as it relates to next year, because Fox's contract with the NFC will be up. The AFC contract with CBS will be up. Monday Night Football contract with ESPN will be up. And yeah, get ready, guys, because it could turn into complete and utter chaos, because everybody's going to want a piece of the pie on this one. So that's the big news that I got, Anthony. So with that said, I toss it back to you.
I just came across that dirt sheet now about Al Michaels and Peyton Manning. Wow. Oh boy. I mean, no disrespect to Joe Tessitore and Booger McFarland, but that would be a major league upgrade.
I think it would be the most dynamic team since Michaels and Madden on Monday Night Football. When they had them two together, that was absolute dynamite. I mean, that was one of my favorite crews to do Monday Night Football. Now, and the thing is, there are some people out there that wants to see Pat McAfee. And, there's a lot of people that wants to see McAfee become the guy, become the face to be the lead analyst for Monday Night Football. But right now, I kind of feel like they've positioned him in college, so you don't want to touch that. No. He's got the Thursday night college football slot with Adam Amin and with Matt Hasselbeck, and let me tell you, that was enjoyable football. When those three worked together, it was fun. It was enjoyable. It made me want to watch Thursday night college football. And trust me, there ain't no heavyweight championship battles. These are guys that are playing Conference USA games, Mid-America games, Mountain West games. There wasn't no ACC, SEC, Big 10, Big 12. No, this was more of the middle of the road type conference games. I think the biggest one was the AAC, the American Athletic. They had that. They had a couple of games there. So they had good games, but it was just the enjoyment and just seeing how all three guys were working together, how they were flowing with each other. And I think a lot of people were talking about it because of the fact that, especially the national championship game. Now, of course, there was Chris Fowler and Kirk Herbstreit, but there was a second commentary, which was on, because they do this multicast that they show the game on so many different networks for ABC, on ESPN. So there was like one thing on ESPN News, one thing on the ACC network, the one thing on the SEC network, one thing on ESPN2. On ESPN2, they had oh my God, who was the crews? They had it was oh my God, I'm forgetting the crews. It was Dan Orlovsky, Adam Amin, Pat McAfee, and not Chris Fowler, the other guy, the one who does XFL, Steve Levy. So they had all four of those guys working together. Two guys were working on the LSU side. The other two were on the Clemson side. And all night, all four of them were gelling so good that people were salivating over the fact of possibly Adam Amin and Pat McAfee working together. Dan Orlovsky with Steve Levy working together with bigger crews, bigger games, bigger everything. That's why I think Pat McAfee will stay in college football. And plus, it looks like once Lee Corso leaves, Pat McAfee might be groomed to be Lee Corso's replacement. So, no, McAfee is in a very good spot on ESPN. He's got a cushy job right now covering college football. Even though I know a lot of people would love to see him do Monday Night Football, work in the NFL, but I don't even think he would come even close if it's Al Michaels and Peyton Manning. With them two together, forget it. No way that's happening. That will be absolutely fun, to say the very least. So, yeah, there you go, bro.
Man, that's awesome. That's awesome. All right, now we're gonna get into the first of our two extra stories that MF wanted to get into. Now, MF, you said that you had some boxing news. Elaborate.
Okay, so I know a lot of you fight fans out there. You guys were wondering, okay, what's going on? What? There's actually three big newses that's coming out. The first one, everybody was wondering what's going on between Tyson Fury. Now, there was rumors about Anthony Joshua, and that Anthony Joshua might be the next opponent. Unfortunately, guys, that's not happening now. Anthony Joshua has agreed to fight someone else, and that fight is actually going down. He's actually fighting the mandatory challenger, which, hang on one second, Florio.
Yeah. MF said he had some boxing he wanted to get into, and he's doing so right now. Then after this, we'll get into week 5 of the XFL, and then in a very special main event, MF will also be previewing the upcoming UFC 249.
All right, so I'm back. The reason why I had to pull away for a moment was because I needed to find the article. It's over here. So, Anthony Joshua was originally going to fight, and there was talk about, that, with, okay, hold on. Let me see if I can find this. I thought I saw it. All right. That's one article. All right. That's the other one. Let's see. All right. It was because there was about Tyson Fury, and he was going to fight, that he was going to fight. There was the rumor about that, and I see if I can find this, because I did see it, and I know that he did agree to fight someone else. Let's see. That was Sergey. That's not it. Did they take it down? I hope they didn't. Let me see. Where was it? White and Pavlin, that's for May. Let's see. All right. So what happened was, it looked like it was supposed to be negotiating. There was a big fight that was setting up, that they were going to have Anthony Joshua, and he was going to fight the number one challenger, which is Amir Amuzman. So he's the number one challenger for the WBA heavyweight championship, because of the fact that the rumors have swirled and surfaced that, guys, we're getting a Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 3. It has been confirmed. They will fight. It will be later in the year. They haven't officially announced when the fight's going to happen, but there is a couple of fights that has been announced. And actually here. So, according to ESPN, the Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury has been set for July 18th in Las Vegas, Nevada. So there it is, guys. It's official. Wilder versus Fury. And this is going down again July 18th. Okay, here's the fight that I was talking about. Anthony Joshua is going to fight Kabrat Pavik, and this fight is actually going to be set on June 20th. And this is going to be at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium in Tottenham, England. So this was when everybody thought that initially that, you know, there was talk about Joshua versus Fury. Well, after Deontay Wilder issued his rematch clause and said, I want to go one more time, Fury versus Joshua is now set. They did announce that Joshua versus Pavik is going to happen. Of course, Joshua knocking off Andy Ruiz back in December, and Pavik was the mandatory challenger for the IBF heavyweight title. So the only loss he ever lost to was to Wladimir Klitschko, which was back in 2014. So that fight is now set. And then you got Wilder and Fury for July 18th. And now here's the thing. Bob Arum made this blockbuster announcement. If Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury both win their respective fights, Anthony, get ready for this. A unification fight has been set for December of 2020 for the undisputed heavyweight championship of the world.
Wow.
So this is a mega fight. This could be the biggest fight in boxing history. If whoever wins these two fights will fight in. If Anthony Joshua and Tyson Fury wins their respective fights, December at Wembley Stadium in London is the place for Fury versus Joshua to determine the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. All right. Other bits of news coming out. There is a report coming out today that there was rumors of a Mikey Garcia versus Manny Pacquiao fight to be set for July 11th, and this would be down in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia. So we got that. Then we got another big fight that was announced, and that was Saul Canelo Alvarez. Of course, he always loves to fight on Cinco de Mayo. Well, he'll get his fight. He'll get to fight on Cinco de Mayo weekend. And this one's going to be a mega fight as well, because this will be a middleweight unification fight as he goes up against a fellow middleweight champion, as he will fight Billy Joe Saunders. This fight is now set for May 2nd. Of course, that's Cinco de Mayo weekend. Billy Joe Saunders is right now the WBO super middleweight champion, and Saul Canelo Alvarez is the WBA super middleweight champion. So you could put two and two together. The winner of that fight will get two belts on that situation. So that was some of the actually, let's see if there's any other fights or any other announcements I can do. No, there isn't. So yeah, so there you go, Anthony. That was the big boxing news that I have for tonight.
Wow. Unification bout.
Yes.
Wow.
Possibly in December. There was one little side note. This was actually confirmed by ESPN. Thank you, Dan Rayfield, for this news. Sergey Kovalev, who's actually, who needs to bounce back after he got knocked out by Saul Canelo Alvarez. He's going to be returning into the ring against Sullivan Barrera, and that fight has been announced. That will be actually on the Zone as part of Golden Boy Promotions, and that fight has been set for April 25th. That fight is set for April 25th, and according to Tyson Fury, he says he's got 2 more fights left before he decides to leave boxing altogether. I mean, what are 2 fights he possibly could have? Fighting Deontay Wilder a 3rd time. If he wins that, then he's got the mega fight to end his career where he could literally go out as the undisputed heavyweight champion of the world in boxing. Not many men has been able to say that in their careers.
No, indeed not. So, very good stuff indeed, MF. So, now let's move on. Normally, this is our main event, but tonight we have a double main event, and we're gonna do it right here and now with week 5 of the XFL.
You know what? Well, no. Leave the XFL for the main event. I'm ready to do the UFC right now.
Oh, all right.
Because I feel the XFL is bigger than the UFC.
Okay. All right. So, MF. Yes, folks, you're getting a lot. You're getting for those of you who want your MF fix, you're getting it tonight. So, all right, MF. UFC 249. Saturday night, I assume, correct?
248 going down at the 248 going down this Saturday. Back in Vegas, back at T-Mobile, the home of the Vegas Golden Knights, and we got some big fights on this one. We got Marcus Griffin going up against Andy Oliveira. That's a 1-on-1. Nate Magny going up against John Lee. That's in the welterweight division. Then we have Darian Klaus. He's going up against Marcus Dutchich. Then the co-main event of the evening, UFC Women's Strawweight title on the line as Wilhelmina Zing puts her belt on the line against Joanna Jędrzejczyk. Yes, Joanna Jędrzejczyk was one of the biggest fighters in the world, one of the baddest women in the world, before she lost her belt not too long ago. And then in the rematch, lost in the rematch. Now Joanna Jędrzejczyk tries to bounce back to get the strawweight belt back against the reigning champion. And then in the main event, the UFC middleweight title on the line, Israel Adesanya, the undefeated heavyweight middleweight champion of the world, goes up against the number 1 challenger, Yuri Romero. Like I said, this is going to be an excellent fight. Good matchup, to say the very least. I'll have the results for you guys next week. And then next week, actually, we're going to have at least we actually got a couple of fights coming up. We actually do have a Bellator, which is going to be at the Mohegan Sun in Uncasville, Connecticut. And then we also got another UFC event. This is UFC Fight Night 28. That's going to be in Brazil. I'll cover that for you guys next week on the show. So with that said, Anthony, it's time for the main event. It's time for the XFL.
Okay, so UFC 248 Saturday night, T-Mobile Arena, Vegas. Should be interesting. So that's all there is to say there. So now we move on to week 5 of the XFL. But let me tell you, week 4 of the XFL was a fun one. Every game but one finished within 1 score. The only game that did not was somewhat of a surprise, as we saw the winless Tampa Bay Vipers take down the DC Defenders 25-0.
Woo!
And as we head into the midway point of this season, there are a few things we know for sure. The Houston Roughnecks and the St. Louis Battlehawks are really, really good. After that, it's somewhat of a mess as the game results don't make a lot of sense. We saw the DC Defenders manhandle my New York Guardians 27-0. Then they lose to MF's LA Wildcats 39-9 the following week. And then, sorry, MF, your LA Wildcats lost to my New York Guardians 17.
Yeah, we did.
Good game, though.
Good game. Good game.
The math just doesn't add up. It really doesn't. So, but we also know that teams are still trying to find their way early on in the season, and we've seen a number of different quarterbacks enter games. The Vipers and Guardians have used 3 quarterbacks. The Seattle Dragons, Dallas Renegades, LA Wildcats, and DC Defenders have used 2, while only the St. Louis Battlehawks and Houston Roughnecks have used 1 each. So with that being said, let's move on to the schedule for week number 5. And it starts Saturday afternoon, 2 p.m. Eastern on ABC. And it will be the Seattle Dragons squaring off against the Houston Roughnecks from TD ECU Stadium on the campus of the University of Houston. On ABC, we got the A-team. We got Steve Levy. We got Greg McElroy. We got Tom Luginbill and the beautiful Diana Rossini. Houston opening up as a 13-point favorite. The Dragons, the Seattle Dragons, they changed quarterbacks. Brandon Silvers, he had been inefficient all season. And after going 4 out of 10 for 27 yards last week, he was benched in favor of B.J. Daniels. And immediately, Daniels made a difference and finished by going 5 of 10 for 100 yards and a touchdown. He also ran 7 times for 84 yards. However, he did throw a game-sealing interception late. There is no official update yet, but I anticipate Daniels starting for Seattle on Saturday. The offense moves so much better with him at quarterback, and perhaps with a full week of practicing with the starters, he can improve. His presence should make this a fun game against the number 1 team in the XFL. Speaking of which, the Roughnecks moved to 4-0 last week after an oddly close game with the Dallas Renegades. Houston forced Dallas into 5 turnovers, including 4, count them 4, by quarterback Landry Jones alone. 3 interceptions and a fumble. Despite this, the game was still close as Houston only won 27-20. The Roughnecks made 4-0, but their last 3 wins were all within 1 score. I expect another close game this week, even if the spread says otherwise. And while I expect this to be a close game, I still think Houston will move to 5-0. So I am going with the Houston Roughnecks in a game that I think will be a lot closer than the experts have it. Houston wins over Seattle 30-26, remain undefeated, and MF, there's no question about it. Houston right now is the odds-on favorite to win the XFL title.
Oh, without a doubt. I don't think there's even much of an argument right now. I will openly admit it that, yeah, I'll say Houston is the team to beat. I think Houston could be the team that could win it all, no doubt. And yeah, they've been really good lately, no doubt in my mind. They've been very good lately, and I'm gonna openly admit it. I do believe that Houston should win this game. So yeah, I'm gonna go with the Houston Roughnecks to get the job done, and there's really nothing more to say. So Anthony, it's yours.
And we move on to the other Saturday game, 5 p.m. Eastern time, over on Fox. It'll be my team, the New York Guardians, squaring off against Derek Ferreira's team, actually, the Dallas Renegades, a buddy bowl here. New York Guardians, Dallas Renegades, 5 p.m. Eastern, Saturday on Fox, from the stadium formerly known as the Ballpark in Arlington, Texas, Globe Life Park, the former home of the Texas Rangers. That's where we'll be for this game. Kurt Menefee, alongside of Joel Klatt and Brock Huard. Dallas opening up as a 7.5-point favorite. Dallas, they had a great game against Houston.
Yep.
Definitely a Shakespearean drama classic. And hey, give it up for my New York Guardians. They They found a way to beat your LA Wildcats. But hey, something has to give in this game, though. I mean, New York, terrible on the road, but Dallas, not so great at home themselves. Something's got to give here.
Yeah, absolutely. You're absolutely right. Something does have to give in this. At the end of the day, kid, we gotta wait and see how it goes. Obviously, you want to go with the hot hand. You're gonna want to go with the team that's been winning lately, and that has indeed been that you gotta go with the hot hand. So I mean, it's gonna be a close game. It's gonna be a good matchup. I would not be shocked if we see them win this game. And I mean, and I think that's gonna be New York. They do have a great shot at winning this game. I don't know how this is gonna play out, but I mean, I think this is gonna be very close to say the very least. And I'm gonna go with I think Dallas will win, but I would not be shocked if New York steals this game. So nothing more to say, Anthony. It's all yours.
The Guardians pulled off a surprising win last week over the LA Wildcats. New York was forced to go to its backup quarterback as regular starter Matt McGloin was out with injury. Unfortunately for McGloin, he'll probably remain out even as he gets healthy, as backup Luis Perez likely stole the starting job. Perez was efficient in his first XFL start, going 18 of 26 for 150 yards and a touchdown with no turnovers. But the real star for New York last week was running back Darius Victor, who finished with 82 yards on 18 carries. Expect a similar approach for New York moving forward, an efficient passing attack with a steady ground game. As for the Renegades, they were handed a lot of bad news last week. Not only did they lose the game, but they also lost starting quarterback Landry Jones, who is expected to miss at least 2 weeks.
Oof.
Starting in his place will be Philip Nelson, who started week 1 for Dallas in a 15-9 loss to St. Louis. Nelson isn't a bad option, but I honestly expect Dallas's offense to not be quite as strong as a result. The Renegades are big favorites in this one, but I think the Guardians have found something with Perez. Plus, New York's defense deserves some credit. The Guardians have 3 players with 2 sacks on the season, which ties the league high. So, Landry Jones is out. Dallas is shaky at home.
Perfect recipe for an upset.
And I'm going to call for the upset. I'm going with New York to win. I believe in them. Yes, they are terrible on the road, just as much as Dallas is terrible at home. But something has to give, and I think New York can win on the road. I love Perez. I like that kid. I mean, he's really good. So I think he could be our number 1. I thought it was going to be McGloin, but McGloin, he's injured. He also has some behavioral issues, as evidenced in that ugly game against DC. We all know how that drama played out. So,
oh yeah,
unfortunately, but it is what it is. So it was definitely out of the Jersey Shore and Kardashian file, no doubt. But all in all, I'm going with my team. I'm going with New York. I think they can pull it off. 18-16. That's my final. 18-16, New York upsets Dallas. So now let's move on to the Sunday slate of games. And the first game that will be going down on Sunday afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern. And yes, it's 3 p.m. Eastern on Sunday on FS1. FS1 will have this game. And I think, based on the body of work, this could be the game of the week right here. The St. Louis Battlehawks squaring off against the DC Defenders from Audi Field in DC. It'll be Kevin Burkhardt with Greg Olson and the All-American girl Jenny Taft. They will be there. St. Louis opening up as a 3.5-point favorite. The Battlehawks have established themselves as one of the best teams in the XFL, anchored by MVP candidate quarterback Jordan Ta'amu. He's second in passing yards at 876 and fifth in rushing yards at 186 among all players. While Ta'amu and the Battlehawks offense gets a lot of attention, something should be said for their defense. The Battlehawks have given up the fewest touchdowns, 7, in the league so far this season. The The Defenders started off hot, going 2-0 in dominating fashion, but have since fallen completely off. The Defenders haven't just gone 0-2 in their last 2 games. They've been blown out in the process, being outscored a combined 64-9. They were shut out last week and gave up the most points in XFL history in week 3, 39. Take a bow, MF, and your LA Wildcats for that. The only key difference is the first 2 games were at home and the last 2 were on the road. DC back at home this week. So maybe the team will play better, but I think the St. Louis Battlehawks are just too good of a team to lose this one. So to me, I'm going to go on the record. I'm going to say this is going to be the game of the week. I think this has 5-star potential. Definitely some Shakespearean drama as well. But I am going with the St. Louis Battlehawks to defeat the DC Defenders in the game of the week. Final score for me, I'm going to go 24-18. St. Louis steals one in DC. So it's hard to believe, but the 2 best teams in the XFL are both out of the Eastern Conference, and that's St. Louis and Houston. The West, anybody could win in the West. So, we'll have to, figure that out. Well, actually, hold on. I think St. Louis and Houston, I think they are both apart, aren't they? So maybe St. Louis and Houston could be on a collision course for the XFL championship. And that could have potential. But I got St. Louis beating DC 24-18. MF, St. Louis, I mean, the last 2 weeks they were in that Edward Jones Dome, and oh boy.
Oh yeah. They made themselves right at home.
Just like the Rams, just like the Greatest Show on Turf Rams used to do.
Oh yeah. They did.
But St. Louis, they're a hot hand right now. But DC, shout out to our good friend Ryan Avedisian. He's already gone on the record saying that until they get a New England-based team, he's going to be rooting for the DC Defenders. But I think the last 2 weeks, he's not been very happy with the results.
Oh, no, absolutely not. And the problem is with DC, they've been struggling. It looked like they've hit the proverbial wall. DC looked like a team that a lot of people thought was going to be there at the end, that a lot of people felt like DC had a great chance of making the XFL final, but St. Louis, man, they've riding the hot hand lately, and they've won a few games, and they've looked really well in the way that they've been winning their games. So, at the end of the day, I got it. You know what? I'm gonna say it. I like what St. Louis has been doing. The Battlehawks have been looking really well lately. I think they're going to continue their hot streak, and I think they're going to win again. So give me the St. Louis Battlehawks to knock off the DC Defenders. So, Anthony, it's yours.
I stand corrected. St. Louis is in the East. Houston is in the West. So we could get a St. Louis-Houston championship game.
We could.
And if we do, oh boy, if it's anything like the game they had in week number 2, we could end up having a much better XFL championship game than in the original XFL, which was an absolute dud because MF's LA Extreme absolutely dominated from start to finish.
Yes.
Against the San Francisco Demons.
Yes.
But that's all there is to say on that. So speaking of LA, they represent our final game of the week. A very special start time, a late start. On ESPN Sunday night. You could consider this a pseudo Sunday night football game if you really think about it. A special kickoff time of 9 p.m. Eastern. So, yeah, a late start on Sunday night. But nonetheless, it'll be the 2 teams that I really thought MF was going to – well, one team that MF has claimed allegiance to, and the other is the team that I really thought MF was going to claim his allegiance for because of a certain apex predator. But, it is what it is. But here you go. I'm going to call this the MF special. The Tampa Bay Vipers squaring off against the Los Angeles Wildcats from the StubHub Center in Carson City, California. On ESPN, Tom Hart with Joey Galloway, Cole Kubelik, and the lovely Molly McGrath. They will be in LA for the Vipers and the Wildcats. Wildcats opening up as only a 1-point favorite. Now, Now then, MF, your LA Wildcats, they had that impressive win against DC in week 3, and then last week
Gave it right back.
tough luck lost to my New York Guardians in our Buddy Bowl. But Tampa Bay, though, I mean, they played Houston tough, nearly pulled it out. But then last week, oh boy, they showed up and they manhandled DC from start to finish at the home of WrestleMania.
Yeah, and they looked really good. And maybe they found themselves a quarterback with Trevor Cornelius. I mean, he did really well. I mean, 211 yards throwing. Did have 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Had 4 rushes for 36 yards and a touchdown in the game as well. And a lot of people was like, could this have been a sign of things to come? But if you're the Los Angeles, if you're the LA Wildcats, you're kind of feeling like, you kind of let this one get away. Josh Johnson, Double J as we call him, 325 yards, 2 touchdowns, had a pick. And the Wildcats had a chance, but what cost them? The field goal kicking. Nick Novak missed 2 field goals, had 1 blocked in the game, missed another one that was not even close. Maybe if a couple of field goals go their way, maybe we talk about the LA Wildcats winning. I think they'll bounce back. I think LA is going to be a little spitting mad. They let the one in New York get away. So I got LA turning it around and knocking off the Tampa Bay Vipers. So I really got nothing more to add. Anthony, it's yours.
Yeah. The Tampa Bay Vipers picked up their first win of the season last week in a 25-0 win over the DC Defenders. Taylor Cornelius started as the third-string quarterback to open the season, but has now replaced Aaron Murray as the starter. He was great last week, going 24 of 31 for 211 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. He was even effective as a runner, rushing for 36 yards and a touchdown on 4 carries. While Cornelius was good, it was the running back duo of Devion Smith and Jacques Patrick that made the difference. Both backs ran for over 100 yards last week and are now number 1, number 3 among league leaders in rushing yards. The Wildcats have struggled against the run all season, giving up an average of 131.5 rushing yards a game. Quarterback Josh Johnson has looked good since returning, but LA's defense needs a lot of work if the Wildcats expect to win another game. I'm sorry, MF, I got to disagree with you on this one. I think the rushing attack will be too much for the Wildcats this week, even at home. I'm going with the Tampa Bay Vipers to defeat the LA Wildcats. 28-24 should be another good one. So that's all there is to say about week 5 of the XFL. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it. We are done for the night. That will put the bow on this latest installment of Strictly Sports. We want to thank you all so very much for tuning in as always. Tomorrow night, we're gonna be reconvening over on MF's channel, Braves Fan 95. Another edition of the Cerebral Smack Talk. Bray Wyatt will have a Firefly Funhouse, obviously addressing his upcoming WrestleMania bout with John Cena. But MF, tomorrow night on Friday Night SmackDown, the Outsiders and X-Pac of the NWO will be special guests of Alexa Bliss and Nikki Cross on A Moment of Bliss. How about it?
Yeah, no doubt about it. And then on top of that, we are going to be covering SmackDown Live, and we got a preview, guys. Yeah, we're previewing Elimination Chamber. We got that set up, so we got somewhat of a loaded show tomorrow night, Anthony, at 10:30.
Yeah, our review of Friday Night SmackDown, as we will cover Bray Wyatt and the Firefly Funhouse, and of course the Moment of Bliss. I would probably say it's the most excited I've ever been for a Moment of Bliss, because MF, you and I and so many of our other close friends in our inner circle, huge NWO whites.
Yes.
And I'm going to be marking like a crazy man. And I believe Bullock will be with me for our traditional SmackDown chat. So, oh yeah, we're going to be throwing it up. You know that. So I'm looking forward to that. So, and then we'll also be previewing the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view that'll go down this Sunday night from the Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. the final pay-per-view before WrestleMania 36. And then starting Monday night with Raw, all roads lead to Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida, because it'll be all about the road to WrestleMania. So now, hopefully, that's when the shows will really kick into high. So that's it. So that'll be tomorrow night, and then Sunday night immediately following the pay-per-view, back over on MF's channel, BraceFan 95, for our recap of the Elimination Chamber, and then right back here on the Tone 25 Monday night for Ridiculously Raw, as we start Raw's road to WrestleMania, sort out the fallout from the Chamber, and then, of course, my Tony's take on Impact Wrestling and 205 Live, and then Wednesday Night Mayhem, AEW, and NXT, and then back here next week, Strictly Sports. MF has a lot of UFC news I know he wants to cover, and we'll also preview Week 6 of the XFL and whatever else may come in. So that's it. So until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF over on BraceFan 95, it's Anthony Florio here for good old MF, Michael Fletcher, and in spirit, Michael Bullock, Dee Woodson, and always and forever, Derek Ferreira, the Hotline Man. You know the routine, everybody. Thumbs up. Talk to you later. Yeah, throw the Fortune 4 style. Bye for now, my friends. God bless. Be good to each other. Have a blessed Friday. And until tomorrow night for the Cerebral Smack Talk with MF, you've been watching Strictly Sports right here on the Tone 25 on YouTube and StreamYard.com. For everybody who has been a part of this one, for now, Anthony Florio, so long, and bye, everybody, bye.